Hello and welcome to the Manfield circuit in just outside Fielding in New Zealand, where we'll be racing in the New Zealand Grand Prix race today. The circuit itself of Manfield was built in 1973, and it was actually designed with the help of the local Chris Amon, who we of course know raced in F1 for several years, unless I'm very much mistaken. The track itself is 3,030 meters, which equals to 1.883 miles, and hopefully we'll have a good race. But I'd thought I'd take you on a small lap around the circuit, where we are taking off on the back straight, which will be the quickest part of the circuit, at a top speed of 207 kph or about 130 miles an hour, before we brake for this last turn, which is Dunlop, where the apex speed will be about 120 kilometers an hour or 75 miles. Onto the Starlight Straight, the start and finish straight, where we'll reach 204 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour. Into turn 1, a second gear right-hander at Firestone, where the apex speed will be 75 kilometers an hour or about 47 miles an hour. Through turn 2, which is this long sweeping, more or less straight, before we head into Splash, a third gear left-hander, which we will be taking at, oh dear, as I look at my notes, at about 103-104 kilometers an hour, which is about 65 miles an hour. And then this slight right-hander, which is very tricky into brambles, this left-hand hairpin, second gear, slowest point on the circuit at 70 kilometers an hour or about 43 miles per hour. Onto this somewhat long straight, we'll just about manage to get 5th in this Mitsubishi Starion before we head into Higgins, which is another right-hand hairpin, and that'll be about 90 kilometers an hour or about 55 miles per hour. And now I'll shut up while I give you an opportunity to have a look at the track at least some kind of speed. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. Third gear through Dunlop, and then all the way up the gearbox into 5th. Second gear here, try to hit the apex and get on the power nice and early, don't run too wide. We'll make our way just about up to 4th in the Starion here. And then we make our way into Splash, as I take a bit too much on the inside. Through this tricky right-hander into this left-hand hairpin here at brambles. And again up the gearbox we go. Just about 5th, and then we short shift to 3rd here, trying to get the apex right, and then on the throttle because we have a bit of banking to work with. There we go. Now down the back straight, on our way to Dunlop. Slight lock up of the rears there, but it should be okay. A little bit slow there, but should be a pretty decent lap. 112.2, I believe our drivers tonight would probably be able to hit 111s, 110s in general, dependent on car and their own driving style and setups, but yeah, hopefully we'll have a good race tonight with a lot of good fights and I hope everyone will enjoy themselves, whether you're watching or you're racing. But for now, I'll hand it back over to my live self, and best of luck to everyone involved. Good evening everyone, and welcome to the Manfield circuit, where we've just headed over to qualifying. It's been going on for about 20 seconds here, so we'll have another minute or so before the first cars head for their first set of hot laps. But let's quickly look at the Manfield circuit, where we'll be racing it tonight. It's also known as the Manfield Loop. The newer Grand Prix circuit technically goes off to the left on the back straight. But this is round 1 of 6 of the New Zealand Touring Car Championship from 1985, and tonight we'll be going racing for 50 laps plus 1 lap of to form up the information and get everyone set and ready to go. But with that said, let's head into the racetrack here, as we are trying to find anyone who has already started their laps or just about started. Ivan, but it looks like he's not on a hot lap, so let's see if we can find anyone else. Here we have David Saber, who's out on track, and I believe he's just about to head on to a hot lap here, so let's ride on board, shall we? If I can find a good camera. There we go. As he runs a little bit deep into the first corner at Firestone. Being a bit careful there, but sideways there, that's the tricky right-hander into brambles, and that's unfortunately his lap more or less ruined. Let's see, here we are on board with number 14, I believe this is Matthias Weber, one of our German drivers heading into brambles. Nice and early on the throttle, using the curving of outside. And this is of course nicely done. Really nice work from Matthias here. This championship will of course be run with the venerable but much loved Touring Car Legends cars and mods, where, of course, as we can see here, we have the Holden Commodore VK. This is, of course, number 14, as Matthias Weber sets the fastest time for now. Second currently is Raoul Jereb in one of the Mitsubishi Starions, which is turbocharged, about 2 liters. One of the slower cars in a straight line, but not a lot of weight, so they'll be very nimble in the fast corners and keeping a good bit of mid-corner speed even in the slow stuff. We also have the beautiful Alfa Romeo Alfettas or GTV6s, 2.4 liter cars, very nicely handling as well. As we can see behind there is the Jaguar XJS, the only Jaguar in the field. And I think that's about all I have to say about these cars. That's Brian Yannick in the 57. And let's see if we can find... Here we have one of the BMW 635s. Here in the hands of Filippo Marazzi. These were I believe 3.2 liter cars, and fairly, for being in the heavier class, very neat to drive still. And of course in qualifying here they only have 2 hot laps to set their times, as to keep the evening a bit shorter for everyone. As we can see behind him now is Jan Tits in the, as a Swede, I'm feeling a bit nostalgic here, the Volvo 240 Turbo, or the fridge freezer as some people like to call them. Here we have a close-up of the Jaguar XJS, of course, driven by Karel Marcinishin, one of our Czech Republic drivers. And here we have Grant Riddle, I believe, is driving the number 17 Dick Johnson mobile, and he is indeed the Ford Mustang GT. Surprisingly, one of the best handling cars compared to the engine size at 5 liters, which is amazing in itself. Of course, the Volvo is a 2.4 liter turbo. 2.2 liter turbo, I should say. And here we also have, that's Steve Parker in the number 11 Rover Vitesse SD1, sorry. I'm trying to get into this. 3.6 liter engines, very oversteery car, but if you can get it to drive, it's a very quick machine. I believe I sort of want to believe we have one more. I don't think we did. That's of course pretty much everyone, so let's see if we can find someone out on the track. We're back at Steve Park here, where we have Matthias Weber on pole still. That's Thiago Canola in one of the Starions. He has been the quickest Mitsubishi driver so far this evening. He jumps up into 3rd. And he's driving one of the Mitsubishi Rally Art team cars. And one I'd be sort of interested in seeing is Grant Riddle, who was topping the timesheets before. You can see they're very neat and consistent on the throttle, and really nice to see coming out of brambles. And into Higgins. Again, really nicely onto the apex and early on the throttle. A little bit sideways on 3rd gear, but seeming good. Or maybe that was even his 4th gear actually. He may be running it very short in the gearing, but out of the last corner he comes at Dunlop. Let's see what his first lap time is, and he goes pole immediately. Grant is definitely one of our quickest drivers. I see Jon Team is also in here for a one-off driving the number 24 Jagdparts team Poland Commodore EK, which is also 5 liters in the engine compartment, but I believe just a tad bit heavier than the Ford actually. But he's standing in for Michael Drexler, who aren't able to drive tonight. We're also missing Pascal Mikla, who unfortunately had to leave due to family matters, and a late sign out unfortunately from Christian Dauger, who would also have been here. But it sort of looks like everyone has set a time. I'm just going to see, he's at 2 timed laps. I'm just checking if anyone has done more than their allowed times. Karel has, so that's unfortunate. And we have Raoul Jereb coming in here at 1:10, so he'll be back up there. It looks like, let's see, that's 3 hot laps. So unfortunately Karel, well, he's nearly at the back, so last row. I'll probably let him be. Sorry for talking about admin stuff, I'm also the admin for this series. Sorry if that's coming across as bad. But yeah, also there are 3 cars available I believe it is, for this race. So if you're peckish in getting a drive, you can still join in warm-up and get a drive. These cars are more or less plug and play, and of course, if you ask, you will probably receive a setup for the car you've chosen if you are so inclined. But that looks like it's qualifying over, and Grant Ridol will be on pole, 2.5 tenths ahead of Matthias Weber, who has put in a very nice lap time there. And Yves Placé rounding out the top 3, with Thiago Canola as the quickest of the lower powered cars. Well, let's also have a quick look at the point structure for this championship, because it differs a little bit from the other 2 championships we've been running this year, where points go down to 15th place, and a win is worth 25 points, with the rest of the top 5 points at 20, 17, 14 and 12, and then it's a 1 point drop from 6th back, starting at 10 points. So hopefully many drivers will have a chance at picking up some good finishes. And I hope you'll forgive me, as I'll take a moment to fulfill my admin duties by giving everyone, all of our drivers, the drivers briefing. So I'll be back in a few moments' time. Okay, sorry if you were able to see everything I was doing. There were quite a few questions, as always in the first round of a championship. As Jason said, it's indeed Manfield Park, which is located outside Fielding in New Zealand. And yeah, we are just, as I say that, we are now in the race itself, and hopefully our drivers will be able to behave themselves and keep it nice and fair, as I'm looking for our top spot driver. So on pole position we have Grant Riddell. Second on the grid, Matthias Weber. Third, Yves Placet, with fourth, Thiago Canola in the first of the Mitsubishis. Fifth for Steve Parker and sixth for Jan Titz in the Volvo. Seventh for Brian Yannick in the first of the Alphas, with eighth for Ray Riddell in the first of the BMWs. David Saban is ninth, and Juha Boos rounds out the top 10 in his Holden. 11th for Raul Jereb and 12th for Mick Chapman. 13th for Jan Kowalski and 14th for Felipe Enrique. 15th for Bruno Chacon and 16th for Michal Janak. 17th, I believe, yep, for Filippo Marazzi, and 18th for Eivind Andersen, the Norwegian, back at HSO after a bit of a hiatus. I believe his last race will have been the British Touring Car Championship we did a couple of years ago, or sorry, a year ago. 19th for Dave Miller in one of the works, I suppose, Mitsubishi Starions. And rounding out the top 20 is Karel Marcinishin in the Jaguar XJS V12 engine at I believe it's 5 and a bit liters. And rounding out the field in 21st is Jon Team in his one-off drive for the Jag Parts team. And yeah, let's hope everyone gets off to a good start here, that we don't have any major spills in the race. As you can see, the field streaming past on their way to the grid for the standing start, which will be interesting to watch, because I know a few drivers were having issues with getting their cars lined up, or sorry, started. As we can see, I believe the field is all lined up, so let's see if we can get the lights on the screen. So we're just waiting for the lights to start. Here we go, 2 red lights, 3, 4. The lights are green and we're underway for the first race of this championship. As we can see, a big group up at the start. We can see it looks like it will be Matthias Weber who will take the lead here. He does. Who is, I believe that's Steve Parker running wide, and Raul Jereb having just a tad bit of an issue. You can see a bit of, oh, that's Karel, unfortunately, off the road in turn 1. And he's already out, oh, that's really unfortunate. As you can see here, Matthias Weber in the lead with Jan Titz just behind. Into brambles they go. We can see that Jan Team has made a really good start. As Weber runs a little bit deep into Higgins and may open up for an opportunity, as does Jan Team in number 24. Looks like Weber has actually opened up a bit of a gap, as Jan Titz also parks the bus a little bit in the last turn. You see that's Yves Placet behind him and Thiago Canola. Eves has a bit of a look, but no move going there, as Ray is in a battle with Grant Riddell, as Grant makes his way by. Where Steve Parker is off in turn 1 again, unfortunately. Whereas Ray has a bit of the moment behind us here. Couldn't quite see what happened, but he's back on running. Lost 3 positions, but always good at when someone keeps running. And here we can see the difference between the Mustang and the Posterion in a straight line. Posterion has very good speed in the corner, but once we get on the straight, we can see that the Jaguar is quite a bit faster, unfortunately for Thiago, but he had a thought about going around outside, I believe, but decided against it. Of course, it's still a long race to go here. As we can see the field streaming by. There are slight groups forming at the moment, but OS Grant is off the road for some reason. Let's see if we can possibly catch what happened. Oh, that looks like lag or something, like a screen freeze. Whoa, it was! Wow! Hopefully that's the only one he'll have this race. As we can see here, this looks to be a fairly nice fight going on. Between, I believe that's Ray up ahead, yes, with Jon Team ahead of us, and I believe we're on board with Steve Parker. This is Pascal Mikla ahead of us. So we get a beautiful run through the last corner, a lot of speed carried. And then of course we lose just a little bit down the straight, but here we go, having a bit of a look. Brian definitely, actually giving gives Pascal, sorry, Juha, a bit of a bump there. Well, that's a bit of touring car racing, so that's all fair. We can see that Weber is streaming away a little bit with this race at the moment, with Jan Titsen second, Yves Passet third. And still fourth is Thiago Canola, so that's a really good effort so far. And fifth and holding up the rest of the grid, by the looks of things, is David Saber. But there's also the possibility of running different tyre compounds, so there's a possibility we'll see both pit stops and long runs, as we can see here. Eivind Andersen making his way past Felipe Enrique in Higgins, and then we go, ooh, dearie me, that's a bit aggressive. Oh, hold on to it. Nicely saved, Philip. And then we have Filippo Marazzi currently actually not running out the field. That's Grant Riddell running out the field. And unfortunately Jan Kowalski has also retired from this race in a number 31 JPS car. As Grant is seeming to struggle with hardware difficulties. And we can see that Brian Yannick has lost a position here to Ray Riddell, and here comes Jon Team to have a bit of a look. And Brian getting swamped in a straight line, but still holds the inside ahead of Steve Parker, who gets a really nice run off the corner. And here comes Steve down the straight with a slightly heftier engine. Oh, can he hold it? Aye, that's unfortunate. He really tried hard to hold on to the position there. Sorry to see Brian off the track, but that was a good fight and good effort at a defensive bit of driving. Looks like he may actually have a puncture, but hopefully he doesn't and he can keep going. With albeit a bit of a damaged car, but still keep going. It feels like we're already almost... Okay, sorry, my apologies. You can see the fight still going on here between David Saber, Juha Boos, Ray Riddle, Jonatan and Steve Parker. This is ought to be a very close fight indeed, where David should have a... Oh, as Juha looks up the inside in the last turn. Oh, and he is still up there, so he could have a go into turn 1. Oh, but David has a very good run down the straight, but Juha could still go up there. Oh, Saber really hanging the rear out on the brakes, but holds on to his position. Very nice defensive driving there. We'll take the opportunity to ride on board with Steve Parker as Ray has a look up the inside of Juha Boos. When that holds up Jonatan, and this could give a slight opportunity. And Ray, of course, in that 635 isn't overly quick in a straight line, and he of course got held up off the corner, which pays even more dividends. And he loses a position to Jonatan, so Jonatan moves up into 7th place, I believe that would be. You can see also that Ray has a bit of a damage to the rear of his car. As here we have a fight between couple of a bit of a fight, and that's Jareb and Chapman, both driving the lower spec car, sort of lower spec cars, the lower engine sized cars anyway, in the form of the Alfa number 45 for Mech and the Mitsubishi Starion for Raul Jareb, as Jareb looks up the inside in the sweeper and tries to hold it around on the outside line. Nicely done, Raul. Good pass. As we can see, Michal Janak, who I believe has been struggling a little bit with this car ahead of this event, but still in the race, which is nice to see. Doing a good job. And here we have Bruno Chacon driving the number 3 BMW 635. Followed by Ivan Anderson, Felipe Enrique, Dave Miller, who's just behind Felipe Enrique in his Mustang, and he has Brian Janik and Filippo Marazzi fairly close behind. So that could be a fight to watch in a lap or two's time. So unfortunately it looks like Grant has decided to retire from the race. He was of course struggling with what seemed to be hardware side issues. As we can see, Steve Parker has actually made up 2 positions since we last was here, and David Saber has actually lost 4. So I wonder if we could possibly see what has happened to cause that situation. Oh, he ran deep into the last corner, which is very easy to do if you just brake a tad bit too late or lock the brakes. Looks like he just broke a bit too late there. That's why he's now at the back of this group. It looks like it's a top 4 breakaway for now, with Juha Boos now, of course, looking to catch up to them as he runs deep into the last corner of Dunlop. But this should open up for them to have a chance to catch up to the leading few cars. Brian runs a little bit wide on the exit, possibly an opening for Filippo to look for a move past. No, he thinks better of it, and of course the Alpha with lower weight is a little bit quicker on the brakes compared to the 635. It looks like Mick has lost another position. Not sure how that will have happened, but it's unfortunate for him. As over here we have another bit of fighting going on in this group. Steve Parker looking around outside of Jon team, so Juha Boos has made a mistake somewhere and dropped 2 positions. Now they're too wide down the straight, and Juha of course trying to put a bid in for this as well. Up the inside of Steve, as Steve tries to close the door. Around outside tries to go Ray Riddle, as Steve gets a bit loose coming off the first corner. Firestone and into Splash here, this left-hander. Looking like a really close fight this, as I believe Steve is looking up the inside. He is indeed. Jon team running a little bit. Ooh, as Juha has a bit of a loose moment. I believe, oh actually no, he was able to recover very well there and get on the power to still keep ahead down the straight. Whereas Ray had a thought to still put his nose up the inside. Ray's looking for a really good run coming out of the last corner, up the inside. This should be an opportunity down into turn 1. If he's brave enough. He brakes late. He's up the inside. See, can he get the power down? He can indeed. And that's a position gain. Nice, really nice pass by Ray. And you are of course being knowledgeable, doesn't try to fight it too much. As Jon runs wide through Splash, has to shortcut a little bit. Almost loses the position to Ray. And here we can see Jan Titz has lost the position to Yves Placé, now under pressure from the Starion of Thiago Canola. Looks like Jan is struggling for tyres here. So this should be a position gain in the infield if Thiago is brave enough. Breaks early there. Probably looking for a good run through Firestone. Not quite able to do it there. Well, we can see here Jan really struggling with keeping the rear end in check. Especially there with the gear change as well. Thiago being really quick. Looking for a good run. Not quite able to make that work. As it looks like Steve has pulled away from Jon team, but under pressure is Juha Boos from David Saber now. As Øyvind Andersen is fortunately off the road and has lost, I believe, 3 positions. Not sure how that happened, and Dave Miller of course has actually made his way past Felipe Enrique in the last couple of laps while we've been looking at other fights. That's one of the downsides with doing touring car broadcasting. There's always something going on. But it still looks like this is the closest fight on track at the moment. So let's jump on board with the Volvo of Jan Titz. was Jan. That actually looked like engine smoke. Whereas Thiago has a seemingly good run coming out. Possibly that he'll look up the inside into Firestone. He has a thought about it. He's actually up the inside now. Just barely making it onto the apex, but not quite enough room, and has to lose out. But it looks like Yves is catching up to just slightly to Matthias Weber at the moment, so that could be a fight for the lead in about 10 laps time, as we are 14 laps into this race now. So almost a quarter of the... sorry, not a quarter, a third of the race in. As Jan locking up the tyres into Higgins there. Really having to work by the looks of things to keep Thiago behind. As it looks like Jon Team has had a moment somewhere and lost a few positions. Try to have a quick look if it happened anywhere recently, unfortunately not. But still, David Saber is pressuring Juha Boss for 7th position here, as David is looking up the inside. Let's see if he can do it here in Dunlop. Looks like he has, but Juha looking for the... Oh, he cut too much on the inside. Bit too much power on the grass and curving, and that's unfortunately a position lost for him. Possibly 2 even, depending on how far behind Raoul is, but Raoul is a bit too far behind. At least for now. Steve is running a little bit deep in through Splash. Looks like this could possibly be a fight that is brewing. Who as Mick runs deep. We're of course on board with Bruno Chacon, who's a very steady driver, very fair. So this should be a good fight between them, because Mick too is very fair. As Bruno is having a thought going up the inside, looks like he will do it. But Mick looking for a cutback to get a good run onto the straight and possibly hope to stay in the draft. Fortunately, it looks like he's not able to do so. Unfortunately, Dave has had a moment. I believe, because he was ahead of these guys just a moment ago. Or am I? I'm probably losing my head. Oh, but he's looking at going past Felipe Enrique here, but Felipe of course having a very fast car in a straight line. Oh dearie me, that's not good. As Dave in avoidance takes to the grass in case something happened. Would have gone really bad in front. Oh, sorry, this is not Brave, this is Brian. Oh, yeah, I am losing my head. Apologies. As oh yeah, you have made that mistake, so that is indeed engine smoke. I hope Jan's car will be able to hold together. But he's definitely struggling to keep Thiago behind. Is glued to the rear end of this Volvo, but even with the non-aerodynamic properties of the Volvo, that turbo is definitely seeming more effective than the one in the Starion, at least for the time being. Of course I can do that, Jason. So we're about 18 laps in, so another couple of laps and then I'll probably try to go through the standings. That's Bruno and Mick is still very close together. And so is Dave Miller and Felipe Enrique. Well, unfortunately it looks like Mick has had a bit of a lockup going into Starlight. Sorry, not Starlight, Firestone. And actually both of them are closing in on Janak. And they're carrying just a bit too much speed going into Brambles. Now Lapcars is coming into the picture as well. Actually, let's quickly go through the standings with Matthias Weber still in the lead, which he took on lap 1. Second for Yves Placé and his Rover, and third just about for Jan Titz and the Volvo, with Thiago Canola in the Sterling just right behind him in fourth, as he may actually have a bit of a look-see here. It's really close, but not quite enough. Fifth for Steve Parker in the second of the Rovers, with Ray Riddell sixth in the first of the BMWs. Seventh for David Saber in the Mustang, and eighth for Jon Team in the Holden. Ninth for Juha Bors, and rounding out the top 10 at the moment is Raul Jareb in the Mitsubishi. 11th for Michal Janak and 12th for Bruno Chacon. 13th for Mick Chapman and 14th for Eivind Andersen. And currently in the last point-paying position is Dave Miller in 15th. And 16th is both of Felipe Enrique and Brian Yannick by the looks of things, as they are both fighting hard. A bit of a bump there, and another one. Eivind unfortunately has had a bit of a moment right there, so he loses 2 positions. And Filippo Marazzi a bit further behind in 18th at the moment, the first of the cars being lapped. As we are 20 laps or 2/5 into the race. Sabre is all over the road here. Here comes Jon Team up the inside in Brambles. Let's see if we can possibly catch what went on. It looks like just a bit too much power and on the grass, and that's all she wrote. As Jon Team takes over 5th position. Sorry, 6th position I should say. I believe that would have been. It definitely looks like Yves is closing in, but only by around a few tenths a lap. So let's see, generally low tenths. Actually seems like it's pretty much stagnant at the difference there is, but still that'll be a tough one for both Yves and Matthias to contend with, as again Bruno Chacon and Mick Chapman is close together. Because unfortunately Dave Miller is currently being overtaken. He's already been... Oh, as he gets a bit of a bump. That's a bit on the limit, I'd say, but it's a very close call. As Dave puts on just a bit too much power as the turbo kicks in there and gets sideways. So Dave Miller unfortunately lost the last point-paying position in that situation, but still a long way to go, so anything can happen. As again Johan and Sabre are fighting. When Thiago actually having a look on Jan Tits here. On the inside. Not quite able to do it there. Let's go jump back to right between Johan and Sabre. Really working to try and get the power down. And now Johan was talking about the tires being very hard to keep on the car, so he's running a combination of very hard tires on the fronts and hard tires on the rear, because of how his setup and the Holden is working this particular track. Where Sabre runs deep, this could open up for Johan if he can get a good bit of power down. Looks like he does. He'll probably have possibly have a chance into Dunlop, who he brakes really late. Can he hold apex though? He can. Nice pass, you are. Fantastic stuff. And fair as well. As Øyvind looks like he's been in the pits for either a pit stop or repairs. As he comes out onto the racing surface again. When again Thiago is now up the inside, this could possibly be the place coming into the last corner. He is trying. Jan Tits definitely is having to work for this. So is Thiago, of course, who's driving very well. By far, but it looks like things the fastest Starion in the field. So we could possibly have a look again here. Not quite. Well, we can see up ahead that Weber is being held up just a little bit by Dave Miller. No fault is Dave Miller, of course, he's racing as well. It's just one of those places where it can be difficult to let someone by. Let's actually have a quick look at the lap time there, 10.4. 10.1, so Weber on that lap lost a couple of tenths as Dave lets Yves by, and Yves flashes thank you for being let by, which is very nice of him, as Yua has caught up to Jon Team as well after just recently having passed David. But let's see, as Jon Team is into the pits. I wouldn't be overly surprised if this is a scheduled stop for John, as we are just beyond the halfway point now of this race. So this will be interesting to see how that plays out. Now it's Felipe Enrique's turn, and he moves out of the way very nicely there to let the leader by. Okay, Juha letting Felipe know he's on his way. Hope he'll shut his lights off now that he's gotten by. And he does, nicely done. So he does it correctly. I know I can't remember now which driver it was, but someone got called Mr. Lights Man or something similar to that when we did a German prototype series race at it would have been Hockenheim. Let's see, Jon Team comes out in 16th, just behind Dave Miller. I'm sorry, a bit behind Dave Miller. I thought white steering would have been Miller, but that's his teammate Canola. Let's see, this fight is still going on here between Bruno Chacon and Mick Chapman. Thank you, Jason. It was indeed James Knowles who became known as the headlight man. I believe he ran the whole race with the headlights on. In his defense, it was difficult to see that lights were on, but it was still a very interesting situation to have going on. And no, I wouldn't quite expect a tyre change from everyone, actually. Especially not the lighter cars like the Alfa and Mitsubishis. But possibly from especially the very heavy cars like the Mustangs and the Holdens, and possibly even the Volvo, mainly because it sort of eats the rear tires a little bit with that turbo, as Mick is really on Bruno's rear end here, trying to make his way past. Or Bruno just about is able to hold on. Very good fight, really good fighting there between the two of them. And Thiago has actually lost out a little bit to Jan Tits, possibly due to the traffic at the moment. As Brian Yannick will be the next one on Matthias Weber's list, and he's of course still in the lead over halfway into this race, doing a good job with his number 14 gold colored Holden Commodore. Looks like there's a change of position around here somewhere. I noticed it moved around on the scoreboard as I was letting you all find your favorite drivers and where they are in the field. I believe that could possibly have been David Saber pulling past Raoul Jareb down the back straight. So possibly Saber has actually made a stop as well now. No, we haven't, okay. But Filippo ain't making it easy for Saber to get by. Now Saber decisively goes up the inside and Raoul neatly follows him through. You can see there the difference. The Mustang of Sabre pulled away down the straight, but in the last corner Raul was able to give so much more top speed or apex speed that he still gained all the time he lost down the straight back. And that's one of the beautiful things with these cars. Whereas we have Brian Yannick catching up to both Mick Chapman and Bruno Chacon as Matthias Weber makes his way past. Let's see how this goes for Weber trying to make his way past Mick and Bruno as Mick stays wide and lets him by. Let's hope he doesn't lose a position because he does so. No, he is able to pull in ahead of Brian. As Brian is looking for a good run through Splash here and to possibly put a move on down at Brambles. We should be close enough, but Mick covers him off. As Bruno is trying to go around outside and let the faster cars by, he loses 2 positions because of that. And here comes Brian looking for a run. They should probably run side by side here because Bruno will have a bit of more top speed. Despite a heavier car, he has a few more horsepowers, which they are making contact. Really close, and this unfortunately is costing Yves Placé a little bit of time. There's a bit of flashing as well to try and communicate what would be the appropriate actions. As Yves makes his way past, says thank you even though he lost a little bit of time. When that is really close. As Brian is going, we really had a heavy thought about going up the inside in turn 1. He decided against it. When again he's really close, he could go for a move. He's definitely carrying more speed in the apex there. But he isn't quite able to make it work. I'm sorry to anyone else who would want a bit of screen time, but this is by far the closest battle on track at the moment. By the looks of things. Let's actually have a look from the... This is actually a close fight as well for, I believe, 18th and 17th position between Eivind Andersen and Filippo Marazzi. Italy versus Norway. Although the Norwegian is driving an Italian car, so that's a bit contradictory, but the fight is on. So Eivind is looking to get a good run. And Eivind of course pitted earlier, so he probably has slightly newer tires as well, which may play in just a little bit in this fight. As he gets a beautiful run, a nice line, but again, as earlier in the fight between Bruno and Marazzi ran wide and went for the apex as Eivind was coming in there. That's a bit of a racing incident, I think. Car's looking for the same piece of track, as it looks like Felipe Enrique has been in the wars. And a lot of damage to both the front and rear left of his car. As Jon Team has made his way past Dave Miller and trying to catch up to Bruno Chacon, and Chacon has lost out to both Chapman and Yannick. So possibly Bruno has made a mistake somewhere. And Raul is still keeping up with David Sabre. That's very impressive indeed, I must say. That's not an easy thing to be doing, as here we can see the lead is getting ever closer, or ever smaller maybe, I should say. Yeah, unfortunately it looks like all the battles has broken up again. As Øyvind has also gotten by, as Janak is into the pits for probably tires. So that's another Holden pitting, but he's pitting later than what the others did, so he's probably looking for softer compound. As we have there, just putting a lap on him, is Team and Chacon fighting for position. This is also a newer tyre versus older tyre fight, as Bruno has yet to pit, and I would suspect him not to pit with only 14 laps to go, unless he wants to go for something like the softs. But Bruno so far defending well from Jon, but Jon looking for a good run onto the back straight here. And he has to overlap. This should be the position secured for Jon, as long as he doesn't mess up into the last corner. And he doesn't, he keeps a very nice and tight line. Comes out of the corner and pulls a little bit of a gap on Bruno. And next driver on his list is Mick Chapman. Oh, and here we have the lead. Oh, sorry, I thought that was the fight for the lead, but that was Filippo staying ahead. So my apologies, getting a bit excited. A bit too early there. And here is Yannick being lapped by Jan Tits. And Mick Chapman being closed on by Jon Team. It almost sounds like with that gear change Mick ain't quite trying, but I am pretty sure he's trying his hardest to keep the position here. Just down to how you drive the cars. It looks like the newer tires is definitely helping Jon here, because he's actually also quicker in the corners, where I'd expect Alpha to be a tad bit quicker. Both of them doing a very good job here. So he could have a look, he does. He's up the inside and looked like a flash there, so I believe Mick may have actually decided to let him by. Yep, looks like it. So next on Jon's list is Brian Yannick, who's about a corner ahead. I'd expect that to be about 3 or 4 seconds. Oh, as we can see, Saber really sideways into Firestone. Just actually have a ride on board with him here. You can see it comes into the first corner. It's a bit of a Scandinavian flick kind of driving, putting the car sideways to aid with the slowing down portion. And this could still get tight, because Reeves has gained half a second in the last few laps, but we're nearing 10 laps to go, so we still have Matthias Weber in the lead. with these Placés close behind in second, and a bit of a gap to Jan Tits, who has shaken off Thiago Canola with a bit of help from the traffic, I'd expect. With Thiago, of course, in fourth. Fifth still for Steve Parker, who had an eventful opening bit of the race, but has gained back quite a bit of time and been driving really nicely in the since lap 4 or 5. Sixth for Ray Riddell in the BMW, and seventh for Juha Boos, who he as well has had quite a few fights, but having done a very good job. Eighth for David Saber, and just behind him in ninth is Raul Jereb, so they are still staying close to one another, so that's probably a position that will be debated until the end of the race. And rounding out the top 10 at the moment is Brian Yannick, but I believe he has the on team behind him indeed on newer tires, so this position could also still change, with the on team in 11th, Mick Chapman in 12th, 13th for Bruno Chacon, 14th for Dave Miller, so Dave Miller is back in the points, that's nice to see. And rounding out the points playing positions for now is Felipe Enrique in 15th. With Øyvind Andersen in 16th, about a third of a lap behind, I'd hazard to guess. And 17th is Filippo Marazzi, and 18th and last of our runners is Michal Janak, with only so far 3 retirements, which is very nice to see, considering we've had a bit of attrition races in our F1 and USAC races of late. Sorry, not USAC. Special oval races, I should be calling them. But for now, let's have a bit of a ride on board with Jan Team for about a lap and see if he is able to close and how fast he's closing on Brian Yannick ahead. It does look like Jan is gaining somewhere between 5 and 8/10 a lap, so I believe it will be difficult for Ryan to hold on, but you never know. We can see Weber and Yves still about the same distance between them. Let's see if Raul... Actually, yeah, I can understand Yves being a little bit frustrated there, but he gets let by on the middle of the corner, so that's perfectly fine. But he did actually close in on Matthias Weber there, so still a bit going on. And here comes Jan actually showing himself in the mirror, putting a bit of pressure on Brian. See if he can force him into a mistake. And it's now below a second between Weber and Placé for the win of this race, with 7 laps to go. Jan runs a little bit wide at Brambles. That should lose him just a little bit of time. Oh, as Brian has a bit of a lock-up going into Higgins. But gets a very nice run out. And apologies for doing that, I just want to keep a check on the lead gap. Jon really quick on the entry. And Brian really working the exit of that of the Dunlop. Jon again showing himself in the mirror, trying to force Brian into the mistake. A slight lock-up, but he gets the car into the apex. Very nicely done. Very nice and fair fight so far. And Brian doing a very good job in a slightly lower powered car to keep ahead of, giving enough of a gap from Jon to hold on the straights. Although Jon really closing in there. See if he can get the power down, not quite. When the fight for the lead is on. Because we're riding on board with Weber, and Yves is right behind him now. Coming through the final corner. With, at the end of this lap, 5 laps to go. So the fight is on. Let's see what happens. If Matthias can hold on, or if Yves will take the first win in this championship. Whereas Yves is looking up the inside, can't quite get the overlap. Really working. He could have a bit of a try here. He does. Oh, a bit of side-by-side contact as well. A little bit of door rubbing, but I think that was perfectly fair. Bit on the limit, but the pass is made, and now let's see if Weber can get a run onto the back straight and have a go into the last corner. He definitely has a run. Let's see if he goes to the inside. And he is. Let's see if he can get the run. He goes down to second, and looks like he will take the position for now. Great fight between these two so far here, as Mick Chapman is in the pits, presumably for repairs this late into the race. Whereas Weber is sideways on the brakes into Firestone, as we have 4 laps to go. Just have a quick look. Looks like Jon Team has made his way past Brian Yannick in the meantime for the top 10 finish. And now Matthias Weber is actually holding the inside. Let's see if Yves can get a run out of Brambles here. He partly does, but Matthias has seemingly a few more horsepowers. He does have 1.4 liters more in his engine capacity. So Yves really pushing, going into the last corner, as we can see that someone has had a bit of a moment there. And Dave Miller actually up into 13th with Mick Chapman pitting. And Mick still in the points, so all is not lost. Let's actually have a look and see. Yeah, looks like there's a bit of a gap between Ivan and, well, between points, the end of the points paying positions and the rest. But let's go back for the fight for the lead, as Weber is wide going into Brambles. Yves looking for the run off the corner. He does get a good run, but so does Weber, really working the rear end, trying to get the run off the corner, as we have 3 laps to go. This is amazing. 47 laps in the books soon, and this close for the fight in the fight for the lead. As Weber had a good run through Higgins and out of Higgins and gains, but Philippe Henry gained slow in a straight line, so he'll stay ahead, but stays wide to let both of the leaders by. Nicely done, Philippe. see there Weber really having to work the car. Really getting sideways when he tries to put the power on, but looks like he is actually able to pull a bit of a gap now. With, I believe, 2 laps to go. I believe it will be the last lap next time by. I wonder if Yves have anything left in the tank to put Weber under some more pressure on the final lap, and also what kind of effect will Dave Miller have on this lead fight, as he'll be lapped in the final lap, as Filippo Marazzi is unfortunately off the road as well. But the white flag is out. This will be the final lap. Oh dear me, this will be dangerous as Dave moves to the outside, as Yves goes for a really late braking maneuver. He has it. Oh, he is up the inside. Oh, Dave better back out, otherwise he can get heavily involved in this. Matthias still has the inside though. Oh, side-by-side contact, but he runs wide, and Yves takes the lead. Oh, that was definitely no fault of Dave. He just had nowhere to go in the first corner, really. And then Matthias tried just a bit too hard to keep the lead, but Jan Tits has a gap for third, so it looks like he'll get third in this race. Weber really trying, but not much he can do to get it back. But both Matthias and Yves, sorry they are not, I'm a bit tired tonight. But here comes Yves through the final corner, and unless I'm mistaken, this will be the finish of the race, and he will take the win. That's unfortunate. Oh, Brian Yannick is unfortunately out of this race. Wow, that's really unfortunate. As Yves of course takes the win. Matthias Weber gets second, third for Jan Tits, fourth for Thiago Canola in a moment here, as he slows down to celebrate the 4th place finish in his Mitsubishi. 5th for Steve Parker, 6th will be Ray Riddle in a few moments time, as he has the final back straight to go in the last corner. And Juha Boos is actually right behind him, so this is still a fight to get to the start-finish line, I believe. It is indeed. Last 2 cars on the lead lap. Let's see if Juha has a try here. Doesn't look like he will. He gets really close to Ray, but it looks like Ray will hold on to score 6th place in this race. He does. Juha Boos gets 7th. Raoul Reb gets 8th, with Saban 9th, 10th for Jan Team, 11th for Bruno Chacon, 12th, and still will get points for that, is Brian Yannick, 13th for Dave Miller, 14th for Felipe Enrique, and 15th in the last of the points paying positions for Mick Chapman, with Edwin Anderson 16th, Michael Janak 17th, and Filippo Marazzi will get 18th as the last of our running cars, with, I believe, Grant Riddle, Jan Kowalski and Karel Marcinischen having retired earlier on in this race. But yeah, that was a really good race, I must say. Really happy that it seems to have worked out very well for the opening race of this championship. And of course a really close fight, so just fantastic to watch. And of course, big congratulations to Yves, who put on clinic drive. So did Matthias, to be fair. He just made one error, and that was unfortunately enough to put him out of the race. But make him lose the win. But it's the kind of stuff that can happen sometimes. But yeah, I'll just wait for a few moments, see if anyone wants to join us for a post-race chat. But overall, I'm really happy. I hope all of you who watched the race is very happy with how it turned out and the action that we got to see. And of course, this is the first touring car race we've had in quite a bit. Ooh, and I can understand, Michael, that if that's why you pitted, because the spider is always unpleasant to have around you. So Matthias Weber joins us, who finished second in this race. Congratulations on finishing second, but condolences on not getting the win.
Yeah, thanks, Jonatan. Yeah, a little bit unlucky last lap. Have to watch the replay for that, but tires were done at the end, and I think Yves has had the better tires.
Possibly, but it looks like you two had a really good fight going for that win of the race.
It was a little bit unlucky because of the lap cars and Miller and Hendrik, and they all have their own race, but I couldn't drive the first corner on my normal way, so that was the chance for Yves.
Well, it's unfortunate.
That's it.
It's unfortunate, but that's part of touring car racing, I suppose.
Yeah, sure.
But still, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Seems, at least it sounds like you've enjoyed yourself.
99% of the race, yes. Was clean fight with Yves, as always. Very nice.
That's great to hear. And also, if I can just get the schedule up, because even though I'm the admin, I can't quite remember. Next time out, we'll be at Terutonga Park. Do you have any experience from that track, or what do you think about it? If you have,
I don't have any experience. I think. Did we drive it before?
We have done this championship before. I believe it's 4 years ago.
NZTCC, no? Yeah, okay.
So I don't know if you took part, but back then we ran it in 3 short races and 2 tracks per evening as a sort of short summer series. But yeah, again, congratulations on your podium finish in second for a good fight. And we have also been joined by Juha. Looked like you had a bit of a frantic race going on.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Well, the first half anyway. After that, just had to chase Ray. We ran out of fuel and just missed him. But the first half was big fun. Hope the next one will be just as good.
That's great to hear. And I suppose I'll ask you the same question. Do you have any experience with Terutonga Park? And if so, what do you think?
Absolutely not.
That's one of the beauties with running this championship. No one has any experience of the tracks.
I think I've driven 2 or 3 laps on it, but that's probably it.
Okay. But since you have at least that, do you have any opinion on what car or someone would have a bit of an advantage there?
I'm going to check if I don't miss the wrong track. Well, I think I've got a chance with the main straight, at least long enough for my car. That should be nice. I'm not sure about the back end, but at least one bit of the track will suit me. We'll see about the rest of it. Don't like the look of the first turn. Or was it the last one? I can't remember. We'll see.
Did you use my setup for the race, or your own?
I did, yes.
Okay. Hope it worked.
It worked really well. I think I neared my personal best somewhere halfway through it. So that was good enough.
Nice.
Great to hear that you were helping each other out, guys. That's always one of the best things with HSO.
Yes.
But with that, I think we'll cap off the broadcast. A slightly shorter broadcast than we've had recently, but then again, this is a weekday event and series, so it'll be slightly shorter. But I hope you all enjoyed watching the race, and to all our racers who partook, that you enjoyed yourselves. And until next time, which will be in 2 weeks' time, where we will be racing at Teretonga Park. Have a nice couple of weeks, and a good evening and good night.